Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me well. Welcome to this second and unfortunately last webinar on the European University Alliances, organized by COMECE, the Commission of the Bishops' Conference of the European Union, and IFCU, the International Federation of Catholic Universities. I'm Emilio Dogliani. I'm Policy Advisor for Culture, Education, Youth and Social Affairs at COMECE, and I will co-moderate this webinar today. We're very pleased to see many of you and also many of you that have attended last week's webinar and that came back. So we feel that the interest is very high. So before further doing and continuing with the moderation, I give the floor to Montserrat Allon from IFCU for a short welcome. Please, Montse.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emilio. So first of all, on behalf of IFCU, the International Federation of Catholic Universities, I would like to thank both our guests and our audience for accompanying us today. And as Emilio has just explained it, well, this is the second webinar that our institutions, IFCU and COMECE, have organized together on European Universities Alliances, a quite unique modality of collaboration that is certainly reshaping the European higher education landscape and which seems to be here to stay. That's what we've heard about. So for those that followed the first webinar, well, we said that we basically explored some issues linked to the emergence, the structure, and the functioning of alliances. And in today's webinar, we will rather look into challenges and opportunities, and we will try to relate them to our mission, values, and identity as Catholic universities. But I'm sure that Emilio will be able to say something in more detail about last week's webinars. So Emilio, you have the floor.
Thank you, Montse. Yes, indeed. At last webinar, last Tuesday, we heard from Joanna de Wandeler, who is Policy Officer at the European Commission in the Director General for Education, Culture and Audiovisual. She presented to us the structure and the functioning of the European Universities Alliances, and she really stressed the benefits of having, for instance, inter-university campuses, more flexible learning pathways, mobility. And she says that this initiative is really aligned with the priorities of the European Commission, with the Union of Skills, but also aims to attract more talent from both within and outside of the European Union, and also to remove some barriers for transnational cooperation in higher education. So the infamous Bologna process. And she addressed also the uncertainty linked to some research programs. We are still in the negotiations phases of the multi-annual financial framework for the next 7 years. So we still have to see how much space this initiative, as well as research and education, will have in this program, in this budget. But she said she's confident that European universities can really be a place where we convey European values, and they are, as Montse said, here to stay. And in the second part of the webinar, we addressed some of the experiences from some of the Catholic universities that are already part of European universities. I remember a very interesting keyword. It was a starter into today's conversation, which will go more in depth, more deeper into the modalities and the governance structure of the European universities, also looking at the challenges. Last webinar, we heard about some scalability challenges, some challenges for ECTS recognition, and our speakers also suggested that it is an opportunity for Catholic universities to be present with their mission, with their social mission, also with European partners. So this very brief recap, just to give you a sense of what happened last Tuesday. And without further ado, I will just say a few technical remarks for the webinar to run smoothly. So you can already write down your questions for the Q&A part. We will go first into a more, let's say, engaging part with our guest speakers that I also thank for being here. You should keep your mic off for when the other people are speaking. I also remind you that this webinar, as it happens with the webinar last Tuesday, is being recorded. So if you don't wish to appear in the webinar, you can keep your camera off. Otherwise, we're going to publish it on our respective YouTube channels so that it's going to be possible for you to rewatch it later on. I will give now the floor to our keynote speaker today, who is François Mabi. François is the Secretary General of IFCU, and I am welcoming him today with us and give him the floor for a small introduction into today's challenges and topics. Please, François, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Emilio. And I will be brief. I just want to welcome all our colleagues, friends, and partners to this important webinar on European University Alliances and the future of Catholic higher education in Europe. I am really honored to open this discussion at a time when the academic world faces profound challenges, but also remarkable opportunities for renewal and reinvention. Over the past few years, as you know, the European Union has launched one of its most ambitious projects in higher education, the European Universities Initiative. And today, a lot of institutions are grouped into transnational alliances that aim to transform the very fabric of the European higher education area. Among the approximately 70 Catholic universities in Europe, I think that more or less 7 of them are already active partners in these alliances, acting not only as participants, but as co-creators of a new model for academic cooperation. So let me be clear, these alliances are more than instruments of administrative convergence or budget consolidation. They represent a real geopolitical and strategic shift in how Europe intends to shape its intellectual sovereignty, defend democratic values, and maintain competitiveness in a fragmented and volatile world. As we speak, as you know, the global geopolitical context is undergoing radical changes. The return of Donald Trump to the White House is not just an American event, it reverberates across academia. His first presidency was marked by attacks on scientific institutions, attempts to curtail international collaboration, and policies that sowed mistrust toward universities. As similar trends emerge again, probably stronger, Europe must stand firm as a space for academic freedom, dialogue, and transnational research solidarity. This is precisely what European university alliances can offer. They form networks of trust that transcend national regulations. For Catholic universities, which are often embedded in diverse legal and political contexts across Europe, these alliances offer a way to escape the constraints of local regulation and contribute to a pan-European academic identity rooted in shared values, openness, critical inquiry, solidarity, and human dignity. They also represent us with a unique opportunity to assert the public relevance of Catholic universities in the 21st century. By actively participating in these alliances, we show that our institutions are not on the margins of innovation, center of European efforts to reimagine education and research in a time of ecological, digital, and ethical transitions. But this also comes with responsibility. We must ensure that these alliances do not dilute our missions, but rather amplify our voices in shaping the future of Europe, especially in debates on social cohesion, peace, intercultural dialogue, and integral human development. So let us take this moment not only to assess where we stand, but to ask boldly, how can Catholic universities deepen their engagement in these alliances? How can they safeguard academic freedom while rooted in ethical traditions? And how can they help Europe become a space of peace, reason, and mutual responsibility? So I thank you for your presence, and I look forward to the rich insight and perspectives that this webinar will certainly bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, François. As you have just mentioned, well, European University Alliances indeed represent a real shift in the European context and beyond, taking into account geopolitical conditions. And in spite of the challenges that these alliances have to take up, they constitute a real opportunity for the European higher education sector. And I would say that, well, we are with a series of Catholic universities today, right? And of course, being from the International Federation of Catholic Universities, we are convinced that Catholic universities can bring in a specific contribution to the alliances and to shaping the European higher education sector based on values and principles that gather us together. So now I will turn to the universities that accompany us today, all of them part of an alliance. And I must say that in this second webinar, we are honored to count on collaborators from 3 alliances, not 4, as you can see in the program, but 3, because one of the alliances, unfortunately, won't be able to join us today. So the first alliance that we are welcoming is EUPs from Universidad Pontificia Comillas, and the delegates that are here with us today are Maria Amalia Silva de Oliva and Arturo Barona Bosque, and we are glad to welcome them once again, I have to say, because they were already with us last Tuesday. The second alliance is unique from Universidad de Deusto, represented by Ainhoa Jorquera Gascon. And the third alliance is represented by Universidad Francisco de Vitoria, and in particular by Alessia Tresoldi, who is replacing Adrian Kuhn, who had to attend to an unexpected commitment. So we will not with us Una Europa, our friends from KU Leuven on this occasion, but we are fortunate to have 3 alliances, quite strong ones and significant ones. So we are really, really glad to be able to interact with them in the panel that will follow. Before starting the panel, well, let me mention that the discussion will first revolve around key challenges that we have identified together with the alliances. So we will focus on some challenges, and later on we will tackle several opportunities that open up to Catholic universities to be more impactful and make advance their own vision and values within the alliances and within the higher education landscape. So to all of our guests, be the most welcome. As I said, we are really glad to have you with us today. And I will start with one challenge which is, well, one of the main challenges as far as we have heard, which is the evolution of the higher education sector towards a kind of 2-tier system. This is a kind of fear that we can hear about. That is the fact that we encounter a kind of divided higher education landscape with, on one side, the most powerful universities working together within alliances, and on the other side, the smallest institutions being excluded, right, from these alliances. So this is a real challenge indeed. That's why we can hear about it, we can read about it. because the main objective is to prevent this situation, this two-tier system. So in the face of this challenge, my question is, how do smaller institutions find their place next to larger ones in your alliance, right? In your particular case. So I would like to hear about some experiences in which you have managed to overcome this two-tier system by including smallest institutions or by attending to smallest institutions in one way or another. So who would like to share their experience? Alessia Tresoldi, go ahead, please.
So thank you so much for having us today. I'm very happy to be in this networking. I'd come back to this networking today. And because I think it's very important to have a dialogue together as Catholic University about the alliances. And I don't think of our university as a small university, actually, because it's almost a medium university, I would say. But the experience with our partners in the alliance is really good, because we have actually, we are 9 universities. We have small universities and very specific university, like, for example, the Latvian Academy of Culture, or in Latvia, or, for example, Curtin University of Applied Science in Austria. So when we started, we haven't thought about who we will choose exactly. We jumped on the train because it was like the University of Portugal wanted to start an alliance, and they called us, and they jumped. We decided to do that with them. And then it's all about discovering the that also small universities, of course, small universities have like very good experience in specific sectors. For example, I am working in a small package of the Alliance, but very good one about culture. And the Curtin University, for example, we discovered they are leaders in intercultural communication, for example. So it's about discovering the other and how they can help us, what everyone can give to the Alliance. And it's a lot about really talking to each other, telling each other what we are doing, because from the smaller ones, we got so much from the medical school, for example, of Gansk, and they are already, that's why also Juan, our vice president, couldn't be present today. We have the annual event, like meeting of the Alliance in Gansk right now. And I mean, we are learning a lot from the small university. I understand that for them, there are some difficult factors like finding people to join the Alliance, sending students, the numbers and so on. But we help each other also in that. So small university are good because they also have the possibility to focus on some specific skills, like also how they are with the students, how they help the students, the commitment they have. So actually, I don't know if it was your question, but actually we have a very good experience with small university in the Alliance. We are very happy that they are in this Alliance with us. I will add something when we later.
Indeed, that was the question, and as you have just said, it's about finding the inputs, or identifying the inputs that each one can bring to the Alliance, right? Because even if you are a small university, you have something to send, you have something to bring in. So that's indeed what we were meaning by by this question. So I think that Wait a moment, somebody else wants to take the floor. Ainhoa. Indeed, Ainhoa, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I take the opportunity also to thank you, Monse and Emilia, for inviting us. Just in line with what Alessia just said, I, we believe that one of the key strengths of the European University Alliances is precisely that diversity. And meaning that we are very different in size, in mission, and structure in our context, but at least in our experience at UNIC, embracing that diversity is essential. And it's a form of building complementarity. So when we talk about smaller institutions, and I have to agree with Alessia that we are not sure whether we are that small sometimes because we have to deal with very different numbers and very different features of each university. But when we talk about the smaller institutions, I think the value lies in being visible and active and strategic in your alliance, meaning that, for example, some smaller university may find it easier to integrate the alliance within its structure because it's easier or the organizational or the community is smaller, so you can integrate everything that you learn and you get from your alliance into your daily basis or into your daily community and your experience. So that's something that I don't know, we can consider as a plus, let's say, and should not discourage any consider smaller university to participate within this kind of projects.
Thank you, Ainhoa. Arturo?
Yes, very much in line with, well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting us. It's great to be here and share our experience. Yeah, very much in line with what Alessia and I know I have mentioned. One is the diversity, and smaller universities bring in a fairly high amount of specialization. They are able to take on very specific tasks and provide a very narrow field of expertise that doesn't exist anywhere else in the alliance. So in that sense, I don't think we can measure their contribution. I don't think it has a size. You cannot say it's big or small. So it might be small in size, but it's huge in value. We see this quite clearly with our partners from Bosnia and Herzegovina because they're fairly small universities, and then on top of that, they don't really have access to a lot of European funding. So in that sense, their actions are much more limited, but the value that they bring to the table with their specific activities and their specific expertise is really viable. And then, as I know I was mentioning, this diversity is really what the alliances are all about. Also one additional advantage that smaller institutions might bring to the table is agility. They're much more agile institutions in general. They can get things done much faster. So in that sense, they do have a lead over larger, more bureaucratic institutions.
Great, Arturo. So now we will explore a little bit the vast issue of legislation, right? And my question is, what major legal or structural barriers have your university faced to be part of an alliance, and how did you overcome such barriers, legal structural barriers? So we know that each country has its own legislation, and it's not easy, right, to match the requirements of the European legislation. So how do you overcome these barriers in terms of legislation? Ainhoa?
Yeah, thank you. This is not an easy one. I
Yeah,
don't know
I know. No,
what the rest of the
they are
colleagues
quite
think,
vast.
yeah,
They are quite vast. The idea is just to provide some, some insights.
Yeah, but I mean the legal issues and barriers are I think, one of the main challenges most European alliances are facing right now. And because it goes to the very to all different aspects of the alliances. I mean, from the educational projects that you may have to the coordination itself. So there are like lots of different questions there that must be somehow overcome in the near future. In our case, in UNIC and specifically in EUST, I think we are seeing this as a way to make these challenges visible to the European Commission and the European higher education space in order to advocate for, let's say, a greater harmonization and flexibility so that we can overcome all those challenges. This is, at least in our alliances, or in our case, we are trying to integrate the plans with our objectives, with our policies, but we also need to show those challenges to our local, regional, national governments and go beyond their European level and try to make everyone understand that where we are and what we need in order to continue with these opportunities. And there is one very big discussion, I think, which is the legal entity that your unique alliance goes to or is promoting. That's one of the biggest ones, the biggest discussions, I guess. But apart from that, and the decision your alliance takes in that sense, there are all these other smaller decisions, like for a joint master, or for a micro credential, or for research opportunities. We have to face all those different policies in different countries. In our case, we are 10. One of them is in Turkey, so it's outside the European Union, although the Erasmus space, which makes it even more complicated sometimes to reach agreements and to start some kind of cooperation. Even though I must admit that we've progressed quite a lot, and we find our ways to continue working. But as I said at the very beginning, I think it's essential that we also show the challenge to make people aware they are there, and we need some tools to be more flexible and to adapt to these new strategies.
Great. I know. Now I would like to hear what Alessia wants to.
Yeah, maybe I cannot add so much because I'm not the one doing like in the management board, and so I cannot tell you anything about actually the beginning or the problems they had at the beginning. We are in the European Union, and so already many things have been clarified because of the European Union, and it helps a lot, of course. From my experience in this package I'm working in, we have to face legal barriers also when we organize activities. For example, the volunteering program. We are organizing a volunteering program, 9 countries, very different legislation. So first of all was, again, getting to know the other. So it was about giving an idea to every country of what's going on. So it's already also getting awareness and knowledge only from organizing an event of what's going on in another country, party of the European Union, but with very different legislations. So first of all, it's like always a source of knowledge, getting to know, and then you can bring also these things, this knowledge you get to the class, because we also have professors working in these events we are creating. So they get to know things and they go back to the class and they can talk about that. on first hand. So it's great also for the university itself and students who haven't joined these events yet, but still they get to know something new and a broader horizon. And then the second things I wanted to say is that actually we want the society to be engaged, as also I know said. So which could be something against us or a problem becomes the way to get into the society, to get them with us on board, because we want them. We have stakeholders everywhere in the society, very different in every country. So again, this challenge is again an opportunity to get on board, to discuss with them, to talk about things and laws we have, and maybe we weren't aware of some characteristics they had, and we can talk to them and discuss and let them help us actually in this process. So it's again great. I'm an enthusiast of the Alliance, and I only see possibilities here.
Thank you, Alessia. Yeah, so we will address some of the aspects that you have touched upon now. So we will develop on some of them just within a minute. So now I would like to know about Arturo. I think you want to add something, Arturo?
Yeah, well, in the case of legal or structural barriers, the two main ones that we have encountered would have to do with accreditation of qualifications. This is regarding staff, especially faculty, how you pay them, and so these are the most difficult to solve. And within the alliance, then we're from 7 different countries, and you just at the end you get used to the fact that there are 7 different ways of doing the same thing, and you sort of get used to that. But what is interesting about working in an alliance is that the legal and structural barriers that you have to face, the stronger ones, are probably within your own institution, because an alliance makes you question how you do things and makes you break the existing structures and regulations, and you have to adapt to a new reality. So that might be a greater challenge for some institutions, to conduct those internal changes rather than working with the alliance.
Very well, Arturo. I can see that some people from the audience are already posting some questions, so that's great. We will come back to them later on after the panel. So don't hesitate to post your questions. So another issue that I wanted to address here, which is very much concern for Catholic universities, is the issue of identity. We know that Catholic universities often struggle to navigate different logics, right? Because they have to respond to expectations coming from national or supranational authorities, and also from expectations coming from the church, And it's not really easy to find this balance and to respond to multiple expectations and multiple authorities. So in your particular case, how do you ensure that your university's identity is preserved, right? How do you collaborate with other members within your alliance without losing your own identity? Maria Amalia, go ahead.
So in the case of our alliance EU-PACE, we are very much connected with the Catholic principles because we are dealing with peace, justice, and inclusive societies, our alliance. So it's true that our alliance is a multi-religious, intercultural alliance because we do have universities that are Protestant or from the universities from Turkey, for example, or Bosnia, or different religions. But this is the objective of the alliance was to have this interreligious communications as well. So this we are bringing also to the students, to the club of students, that they are interacting with among them. And also we Comillas, we are leading one of the work packages which is about inclusive societies, which is very much in line with the mission of the own university. So it's to reach the third sector, it's to make projects with the society, for the society. So and we are using our network also from our own partners, our own, mainly most of them from Catholic institutions as well, organizations related, so that we can also expand the alliance's activities through the society, but with this core thematic.
Great, Maria Amalia. I would like to know about another alliance vision, Alessia.
Yes, maybe what we are very young. So as I said, we started, the kickoff was in December, so we just started and to collaborate. But we have, for example, here two things. We have a think tank, like of people on the concepts. They're talking. We have experts from each university gathering together to talk about the main concepts of our alliance, the values of our alliance. So first of all, it is always dialogue, and also listen to the others, listen to each other. And first of all, living what we are, the identity in this dialogue. And then talking about also with the consultant who is helping us, for example, and make it clear from the beginning, this is who we are, these are our values, and we want to find a common ground. There is a common ground. There is some points we can work on together, actually, and let's see what will happen. Right now we are talking about that and we're working on that, and it's good. I see it's always enriching when we go out, it's Pope Francis, to go out to reach the others and tell who we are and what we do. And just I see that also people participating to an alliance, they want also to get to know each other. They want to welcome everyone as we want to welcome everyone. So it's right now, it's a lot about listening, discovering, and being present as sometimes Catholic persons, but from a Catholic university. So that's to live like that without fear. And yes, that's more or less what we are doing.
Thank you, Alessia. Indeed, I formulated this question from, as a challenge, but it can also be understood as an opportunity, right? And the other question would be, how Catholic universities can bring in a Catholic perspective into the alliance, their own values. So I had both questions, but I'm monitoring time. So yeah, I think that anyway, the answers we have heard so far go in both directions. It's about preserving the identity, but not only preserving, but trying to, shape somehow the work of the alliance according to these values that you want to share. So
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Anna, I just want to add something. It's
Sure.
exactly about that, because I speak for myself. So now we read a lot about the declaration Dignitas Infinita, for example, the Pope, or we read Ex Cordis Ecclesiae and so on. And then we go in the reality and we start to seek, to deepen our faith, actually, or to deepen why we say the church says that. It's like, it's not about doubting what they say, but just to to see, to give the reasons of our faith, and to give the reasons of why our universities are moving, are doing what they do in following the church and what the church says. So it's great. It's like where I would use this word, I don't know if it is the correct one, but test, no, if it really is something for the world, for the people. And this is interesting. This is just interesting to deepen and not being like superficial and always, I'm sorry to say that, like talking to each other. We all agree on the same things, but going outside is, again, making everything more interesting, I would say. I don't know if you can, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I think that everybody can understand what
is
what
it
you're
really reliable? Yes.
Great. Ainhoa, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I will be very brief because I think that both Maria Amalia and Alessia have summarized, I think, the essential very well. But yeah, I think it's key that at least in our case, but I guess that most university alliances in Europe share a common goal after all. And in our case, we talk about engage research, collaboration with society, and the improvement of super diverse populations, for example. So when you deal with those kind of shared objectives and aims, you finally end up realizing that we, or most of us, share common values, despite our background and our different realities, right, and context. So I believe that for Catholic universities, this means that participating in an alliance does not require diluting or compromising our values, but it actually provides a platform to embed on those or those values and work collaboratively with others. I think it's all about, again, diversity in Europe and how you deal with that diversity, how you treat that diversity, and the dialogue that we are creating between different institutions, in which we can, of course, participate and show ourselves and express ourselves and share how we see the different projects and add like a real and reasonable partner within being, I don't know, that's our, at least it's our impression from our alliance. I think we're very fortunate to participate in an alliance with, we are the only Catholic university there in UNIC, but we are heard, respected, listened, and very considered because of our values and our mission. So I think we are and we are all added value, and we represent added value to each alliance. But again, the common and the shared mission is, I think, is key for this. So it's all about navigating through diversity and increase the dialogue between the different partners, so in order to reach the common good, right, that it's what we are all looking for. So yeah.
Thank you. I know since we are already talking about the opportunities, which are closely linked to the challenges, I would also like to explore a little bit more what has already been said about social impact, about working with society and how reaching so some impact on different social actors, right? So I would like to know what your alliances are doing to manage to be impactful, and in particular to reach out to local communities, including underserved populations or even rural students, right? what have you planned? What are you already doing within your alliance to manage to have such impact on the society without forgetting those excluded or the poorest populations or even students that are in rural areas and can be somehow neglected. So how are you proceeding in this regard? Arturo Varona.
Well, in the case of EUPs, really literally comes with the territory, because our alliance is on peace, justice, and inclusive societies. So really, this is the driving force behind the whole raison d'être of the alliance. In the case of how that is actually implemented, we are actually the leaders of the work package or the part of the alliance that leads social impact of the alliance. So the way we're doing this is constructing innovation ecosystems locally, where each university is developing and reinforcing their network of local collaborators in terms of social impact. And each of these small ecosystems has the 4 dimensions of the innovation, which is the academia, public administrations, industry, and social agents, and third sector. So in this sense, it is fairly well covered in our alliance, but because we have explicit mandate to do so as part of the alliance. So this might be more challenging for other alliances whose mission is not so aligned with social impact.
Thank you, Arturo. Does somebody else want to say something on this issue? Maria Amalia.
Just some practical examples of what Arturo was telling is that inside this innovation spaces, which we call living labs, we have this methodology of living labs to integrate all the 4 actors. We do have a project-based established system in this living lab, which are, for example, we do have a project with energy poverty. So we do work with the communities that don't have access to energy, or we do have another project with migrants to integrate them into the working so they can arrange or find a job in Spain in this case. So we do have this small local projects. This is one particular working package that each university, they work locally with their own communities, because of course they are in a direct impact on the society. So these are some examples of what we are doing so far at the Alliance. And the idea is that these projects could be sustainable and also integrated into the day-by-day of the universities, this kind of methodology and this way of reaching the society.
Thank you, Amalia. I will leave the floor to Ainhoa.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just very in line with Arturo just said. We are also, our mission in the Unique Alliance is very directed to social impact and this inclusion of super diverse populations in post-industrial environments. So with that as the core of the alliance, what we are learning is that inclusion and diversity looks different in in every environment. So we do not face inclusion and the treatment of diversity in the same way that our colleagues in, I don't know, Bochum, for example, do. So this is something that has been very enriching for everyone, because we can learn from each other's experience and good practices, and we are now, we feel more prepared to integrate different inclusion scenarios, different population evolution, and I think that's something very enriching and something that we are learning a lot from, and it's very interesting. Apart from all the projects and research opportunities, engaged research in our case, opportunities that the future may bring us due to this network cooperation, I think that those lessons on how to understand inclusion and the different contexts are very important.
Great, Ainhoa. So I think if Emilio is fine with it, that we can move to the question and answer session. Because I can see that some people in the audience are already quite anxious about knowing more and in particular knowing more about specific issues. So Emilio, I will handle you the floor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Montse. It was very inspiring to hear from all the answers that we got to your questions by the universities. Yes, indeed, I will open now the floor for some questions. We have already 2 questions that have been written in the chat. The first one by Christophe Pons about calls for proposals and about the enlargement of existing alliances to new partners, whether there will be in the future new calls for proposals opened. This is something that maybe our Catholic universities can reply to already, but if you remember from the first webinar, we have heard from the Commission experts that they want to see first maybe an upscale of what existing universities are doing and maybe consolidating the existing universities. So it is unsure still, as far as I've understood it, that there will be new calls for European University Alliances opened. Then maybe if the speakers have something more to add, they can do that. And the second questions come from Don Bosco International, whether there are in the alliances that presented today some universities that do not have Erasmus Plus accreditation or EU accreditation, and if so, how you manage the grant. So this is a more technical question for the universities that are present with us today. So I open the floor to any of the guest speakers today, whether they have some elements that could help us understand this. Yes, I know, please.
Yeah, I don't think I have clear answers to any of the questions, but I think we can share a feeling, I think, or more than a feeling, with the rest of the colleagues that may not be participating right now actively in an alliance. I think that the door is open somehow, so if we create or we continue to create a forum in which we can discuss and we can share the lessons learned from the different alliance, it's going to be very enriching for everyone. Because I think there are lots of opportunities through project-based collaborations, academic networks, joint research, student and staff exchange. I'm thinking about Erasmus, but it may be not Erasmus. So I think we are now in a position where we can learn a lot from different European scenarios, and from that point we can start building also with other networks like this one and many other ones. So there's definitely an opportunity there for all of us, and independently of what the European Commission sees the European higher education space for the future, I think we can all benefit from the European alliances in this sense. And regarding the Erasmus accreditation for members, and I'm not sure about what the future legal basis is going to be, but I'm sure that all alliances right now are looking or are trying to somehow increase their environment, let's say, or their ecosystem, how so to say. So I'm sure there's plenty of space to incorporate new stakeholders of very different kinds. So that's for sure an opportunity, not only to us as universities, but also to other partners or stakeholders that may be interested in the projects.
Alessia, please.
Yeah, just I cannot answer any question because we are all Erasmus university about, so we don't have I don't know. I don't know how to answer these questions, but this is very important. What also I know was saying, actually, if anyone here wants is thinking about starting or getting into an alliance, connect and call us or anyone here just to ask how is it the beginning, or how to do, what to do, to ask for the experience, and because we can really help each other. It was so important for us, for example, last year, to talk to our colleagues of Pompeu Fabra, for example, another university in Spain, just because we met at an event and we were starting this adventure, and they were already in that and working in, and that helped us a lot. So usually in the university, sometimes because of thinking about the university as a business, we are, or you see people one against each other. But actually what we are doing here, it's so great and so helpful, and that we can really build together something, even being in different alliances. I think this is the beauty of what we are living as Catholic universities. So please make sure to call us. We are, I speak for myself, but I'm sure everyone here will say the same. Just ask for details. I'm not the person, but I can give you the contact of Cello, who is the one organizing everything, who saw everything, and we can really help each other. We want more alliances, this is something that really can help growing the society, changing the society. So I'm just saying, ask and get aware of what it means really to start an alliance. It will help you in organizing and maybe not making the same mistakes we made at the beginning, you know. So, and also it's good for us, I think, just to get aware and see new things happening in other universities, you know. I don't know. That's, again, let's share. Share is very important.
Thank you, Les. This is also in the spirit of the European Union, to share and to, you know, collaborate more deeply onto certain aspects and certain initiatives like the European universities. And I feel like what we got from last webinar, from the last webinar last Tuesday, was also this feeling of building ecosystems where, even though universities might not necessarily be part of an alliance, they can still have the possibility to benefit from what the alliances are creating in terms of a space of sharing, a space for co-creation, for getting new ideas and implementing them in their own university. So I think this is very important. We are drawing to a close of our webinar, but I think we can still get one or two questions if participants have more questions. For our guest speakers, you can write them in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand, or you can turn on your video, and then we can see your real hand as well. Yeah, don't be shy. Okay, I don't see further questions. I believe that, as Alessia was saying at the end, sharing is a very important part of what the alliances are, but also of the spirit and mission of Catholic University. So if the guest speakers agree, and if Montserrat agrees, we can share the contact details of the guest speakers of today and of last webinar with the participants, if there is an agreement on that, so that, yeah, I see some thumbs ups, so that we can really have create this forum, even a very informal one, where we can share about our experiences and continue talking about this. Very good. So maybe I can just try, and I say try, I want to highlight the verb try, to do a small recap of this session today. I think our guest speakers highlighted the main concept they highlighted is that it is indeed an opportunity. So European universities are an opportunity for Catholic universities. This was the question that we started with at the beginning of our webinar last Tuesday. And then I think we can reply with a strong yes. This doesn't mean that there are issues. A two-system level can somehow exist in terms of legal challenges. We are seeing, sorry, Bruno, I didn't see your hand raised. Please.
Yes, thank you, Emilio. I didn't want to talk because although I'm living in Europe, I'm in Rome. I'm from Argentina, so technically I'm not part of any of your alliances. I'm from Universidad Salesiana, Argentina, and but I wanted, since you don't have more questions, I wanted to share an experience that I think is it can be interesting for the group. In 2014, about 10 years ago, some rectors of Catholic universities in Argentina went to meet Pope Francis, and they brought to him some questions and some ideas. What alliance can Catholic universities in Argentina integrate in order to help the civil society in Argentina? And they brought 2 or 3 ideas, one of which was related to the drug problems, drug trafficking, drug abuse problems. And Pope Francis, since he knew about this problem, this big problem in Argentina, was very interested and encouraged the Catholic universities in Argentina to get together to fight this problem in every aspect, in education, drug trafficking, the legal aspects of it, and so that's what we did basically, and the Observatorio de Prevención de Narcotráfico, the OPRENAR, Drug Traffic Prevention Observatory was created, and with great success, and it was respected, and it is respected by the different political parties in Argentina. And not only that, some secular universities like Universidad de Buenos Aires decided to join the observatory, and they were welcomed. So I think it's a good example of something, or when there's a clear target, when there's a clear mission, it's also easier, I think, to create an alliance like this one. So yeah, I just wanted to share a personal experience to the group. Thank you, Emilio.
Thank you, Bruno. No, I think it's a concrete example also of how much we need this type of collaboration, not only in Europe, but how it can be transposed in other continents. And I think the Latin American one can be, since there are many Catholic universities in that part of the world, I think it can be something very interesting and very fruitful. It can really bear fruits. And yeah, so thank you for this example. I will just continue very briefly with the recap. I think the legal challenges can be overcome. I think we've heard that there is progress. There is a challenge with the accreditation of qualifications, but this is part of the bigger challenge of the Bologna process as well. The preservation of the identity is something that Monse asked questions about. But I think also in this case, in this dialogue of European alliances, we as Catholic universities can live truly and deeply our identity and our mission. And it was very interesting, I think, to hear also that it is possible in such alliances to give the reasons for our faith and how Catholic social teaching can be an added value for our societies. I think the election of the choice of our new Pope is also, and his name is as a value for adding to this importance of Catholic social teaching for today's world. The European universities can be also a platform to embed our values in what we do. So I think the projects that you have shared, you guest speakers, have really helped us in understanding the importance of European alliances of universities. I will say that maybe we can continue the discussion further, also steered by the management of IFCU. In this sense, yesterday there was new resolution by the Council of the European Union, the Council of Education, saying that they want to have a stronger vision for the future of European higher education, and there are some steps they have decided on for a joint European degree label that should bring forward an introduction of a joint European degree. So, as Monse said at the very beginning, the debate of European universities and European cooperation in higher education is not stopping anytime soon. And maybe this joint European degree label could be the topic of, who knows, another series of webinars. I will conclude this session today by thanking all participants and guest speakers again, the great cooperation of Montserrat from IFCU, the Federation of Catholic Universities internationally, and I wish you all a great day and to keep in touch with you all. We will, of course, send you a follow-up email, don't worry.